$214 million annually. Unlike the 2018 head tax, which was unanimously approved and then overturned after immense pressure, the Jumpstart tax is more specifically targeted. The payroll tax ranges from 0.7% to 2.4% and applies only to salaries for employees making more than $150,000 a year. The highest end of the tax applies only to companies with $1 billion or more in payroll and only on employee earnings of $400,000 or more. The suit claims the law was rushed and oversteps the city's authorities by unlawfully taxing, quote, the right to earn a living. Despite not applying to small businesses, the chamber argues that the tax will have wide ramifications and slow the post-pandemic economic recovery.
And that's your news on Rainier Avenue Radio.
Help a child in need during the holidays. The good people at GivingGiftsOfHope.org have requests for baby toys, dolls, trucks, and remote control cars. You can bring unwrapped toys to Taproot Cafe and Bar, where there is a large wrap box to place toys Tuesday through Saturday 11 to 7 and Sunday 11 to 5. Taproot Cafe and Bar is located in Columbia City at 4908 Rainier Avenue South off of Hudson Street. For more info on supporting families during the holidays, go to www.givinggiftsofhope.org. Happy holidays.
Hello, listener. What's important to you about what's going on in your community? Are you interested? Are you concerned? In any case, I invite you to tune into my show, Seattle Here and Now, on Rainier Avenue Radio.org. Why? I will be covering a wide range of topics important to you and impacting the community. Each show will have a special guest or guests to share with you information on a variety of subjects that are happening here and now in Seattle. I promise I will work hard to make my show informative, interesting, and entertaining. Be sure to listen to Seattle Here and Now on Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
You can protect others from getting sick from COVID-19. Here's what you do. Stay at home unless you need food, medicine, or medical care. Avoid large crowds. And if you have to go out, stay at least 6 feet away from other people. Don't forget to wear a cloth face covering so you don't spread germs when you talk, sneeze, or cough. Cloth coverings should not, however, be used on children under 2. For more information, call 206-477-3977. That's 206-477-3977.
You're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
It's just different. Welcome to The Sentiment, a thought-provoking show with discussions that consist of life's experiences. We are bringing thoughts and perspectives out of captivity and isolation into spaces that promote awareness, healing, restores hope, and proclaims victory in everyday thinking and living. Come sip with me. Hey y'all, welcome back to The Sentiment. It's your girl Latrice Donahue, and you are listening to Rainier Avenue Radio. Thank you all for tuning in with us this evening. Today's episode is the first installment of the Grief and Loss series with The Sentiment, and it's titled Hurt, Heavyweight, and Loss. And to share in her story and to discuss this topic with us is the beautiful, the talented, the very resilient celebrity, chef, and food healer, Jourdan Cha'taun. Thank you for coming to sit and sip with me, dear. Oh no, are you still on mute?
I was, my bad. I'm this. I don't really.
I hear you, girl. Welcome.
But I was for having me though. That's what
I appreciate it. What are you sipping this evening?
So.
I am.
I have a mixture of a 3 ginger tea with chamomile and coconut milk.
Nice. And I have celery juice. I noticed that you blend it every morning. And so I wanted to try it. And so this is actually my first time trying it, and it's not bad.
No, you blended it though?
I didn't. I got pressed juicery.
Oh yeah. So it's not blended as juice because it would
It's
be
juice. Yes, it's fresh pressed, supposedly.
yeah. So I was like, don't blend it and drink it. That would be texture.
Absolutely. So Jourdan, you have suffered some great loss from your father to your mother, recently your sister that I know of. And when you mentioned it in certain aspects, I just hear how broken your heart is. And you talked about some of the challenges and trauma from your grieving and how it affected you. But before we get into it too deep, I want to take some time, my dear, and just celebrate you and honor you. You are the most amazing. You've had some great success, some great accomplishments, and I just want to highlight some of that, if you don't mind.
Okay.
I need to brag on you for a minute. This is a hometown hero, y'all. So 206 in the building. This young lady has been the executive chef to some big names, y'all. I'm talking for years. Tyler Perry, Sean P. Diddy Combs, Floyd Mayweather, Dwight Howard. She has studied under one of the top 5 Black chefs in the world. She's created menus for private grand banquets and prestigious events. She is absolutely amazing. And this is just to name a few, okay? Just to name a few. And she recently just did a gathering for Floyd Mayweather's Thanksgiving. And so I just needed to brag on her for a minute. You know, some people don't want to boast on themselves. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there. You're the bomb.
Thank you.
And I just appreciate you. You inspire me on so many levels. And I can't wait to jump into it.
Okay. Is there a question?
Yeah, I do have questions for you.
Okay.
I did want to leave space in case you wanted to.
I'm not comfortable like just talking about myself because it's weird to me, you know. So if you ask me questions, I can, you know, I mean, for those that don't know, I guess I would say that my mom actually is from Seattle. I was born in Los Angeles and raised between Seattle and Hawaii. So a lot of people that know me from Seattle, 8th grade, I went to McClure Middle School, and I went to high school at Ingram for a little bit, you know, and then Franklin. I graduated from Franklin, and I think in order for me to talk about, you know, my success and my grief would be to explain where I came from, right?
Understood.
So my grief started early. So my dad was murdered when I was 8. And when he was murdered, we had actually just left Seattle and moved to Hawaii. And so we were in Hawaii for a year before my dad died. And before my dad died, I mean, my dad was a big time drug dealer out of the south side of Chicago and had drug corporations all over the country. And so when he died, we went from, you know, having basically a balling lifestyle to my mom and us being on food stamps, you know. So it was a totally different, you know, life. And so, but we had just moved to Hawaii, and I was always thankful for that because I got lost in the mountains and like jumping off waterfalls. And, you know, I think that if I would have been in Seattle or anywhere that had the streets, I would have been lost in them early, you know. I definitely believe that because I was lost early, you know what I'm saying? But I was just at the beach, you know, it was like a Kuna Colada the jungle, you know. So, you know, I'm very thankful for that time. I like to believe that it saved me from going down a different path, you know.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of us in the town in Seattle, our parents were involved with drugs and, you know, drugs,
absolutely,
prostitution, and, you know, and I think that we're so used to it at that point, you know what I'm saying? It's like we're very desensitized to it all, right? But it's not, you know what I'm saying? And
absolutely.
And so when I moved back to Seattle, I was coming from Hawaii and I was excited, like, oh yeah, there's gonna be Black people. Yes, you know what I'm saying? I'm excited. And I had a rude awakening. I was not very welcomed, you know what I'm saying? And you know, at that age, I didn't know what colorism was. I didn't understand that it was a real thing, you know what I'm saying? And I still didn't really understand it for years, that there was a name for it, you know what I'm saying? And so for a long time, I was dealing with identity issues and struggles because I actually hated that I was white. I hated it because I was constantly fighting with people. So there's a history of me in the town of being known for fighting, you know what I'm saying? And being like, oh, she crazy, she out of control. And so I just want to be very transparent about the layers of different forms of trauma and things that we experience and internalize, and what it looks like on the outside isn't always really what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Right.
And at that age, I was more comfortable with everybody thinking that I was an angry Black bitch. I wasn't comfortable with people knowing that I was broken, abused, and, you know, wounded, and that I was grieving the loss of a lifestyle. And then I'm dealing with, I hate that I'm white and I'm in this house with this white lady and I'm going to school and people think that I got this good life because my mom's white. But in reality, we was living in my grandma's house. I was sharing a room with my mom. Like, my life was not what people thought it was. You know what I'm saying? So through middle and high school, I fought a lot, you know, and that's what I was known for is in Seattle growing up, you know. And by 14 years old, at the end of 8th grade, my mom couldn't deal with it no more, and she kicked me out, you know, because she was probably gonna kill me, you know what I'm saying? Like, my mom got to that point where she was like, I'm gonna really go there with you, so you have to leave, you know. And so I left the house at 14 years old, and I never lived with my mom again, like long term. Like, I went and stayed with her for like 6 months or something here or there, but we never lived together again after I was 14 years old. So and during high school, when a lot of people like you knew me or from a distance seeing me, you know, growing up, I didn't have a stable home. I didn't have consistent support system or like anybody pouring into me. And I was just full of a lot of pain then, you know, and grieving my dad and not really knowing how to talk about that. And, you know, because when you're younger, you're not just telling people, yeah, my dad was a drug dealer. He got murdered in a deal, gone bad. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
You're not just saying that. And so, you know, I had always believed in the vision that I was going to move to New York. I was going to become a celebrity's personal chef. Like, probably at like 19, I think is when I made the decision where I was like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. Like, I had an emergency expulsion from the school district by 15 or 16. So I had to leave for a little while and then come back so that I could get into the Seattle school districts and go to school. But I didn't running start. So by the time I graduated high school, I was a sophomore in college or something, and I was studying business and communications, and I left for like a year trying to figure things out. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna go back to Seattle and I'm gonna study culinary, and I'm gonna go to New York and I'm gonna become a celebrity chef. Like, that's just what I made up in my mind. I never really, like, there wasn't anything more than that. Like, it wasn't like it's gonna be this person and this is what I wanted it to look like. It was like, I'm gonna just move to New York. I'm a celebrity chef, and you know, that's what I'm gonna do. And so I worked 3 jobs, and I studied culinary at Seattle Central. And I lived. Where did I live off of Broadway. I live off of like Broadway or something. So I used to be walking to work, walking down. I opened up PF Chang's, and I don't even know what the little shopping center is called no more downtown. So I was able to walk to school, walk to my jobs, walk home. You know what I'm saying? Like I made a way.
I remember the stories from that apartment up there. I remember some of them stories from when you lived up there.
There was a lot going on in that building.
Yes, yeah.
Not necessarily in my apartment.
Memories.
No.
Memories. It wasn't with me. It was one of my homegirls, but it was just really funny. Let me jump into some of these questions, see if we can get through some of these questions. I lost my errand, girl. So when did you realize that you were really struggling, and what did it take for you to finally change?
It would be more like, when did I care that I was
okay.
For a long time, like I was not in control, but I was still in denial about that. And when you say out of control or whatever, are you talking about in relation to
grief? In relation to some of your trauma and some of your grief, and how you were handling it? I know you mentioned after your mom.
I was out of control the whole time. Like that's why I was fighting all the time. And you know, beyond losing my dad, I was molested by multiple people in my family from the ages of 2 to 6, again at 12, and then I was raped by the time I was 19. So I had a lot of. I know that the molestations really made me how I am, and the more masculine energy, you know, like I'm really like, this is what I say it, you know what I'm saying? Imagine I'm a man, you know, like.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I learned through therapy over the whole, like in and out of therapy my whole life, that at different times I've had to protect myself in different ways with how I interact with people, you know. So a lot of times I was interacting with you guys growing up just from only way I knew how to survive, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely understood. Mm-hmm.
And so I was out of control for it. I wasn't even born into a controlled situation, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
My dad being what he was, you know, my mom, she was prostitute. My mom was in jail when she found out she was pregnant with me, or not even jail. She was in like a nut house because she had tried to kill herself. And she tried to kill herself because she found out her best friend had a baby by my dad. And so, but my dad got 11 kids by 9 different women. So it's like,
yeah.
How could you
be a lot? Yeah. I understand that.
You know what I'm saying? Like
at this point.
This is a lifestyle that you're a part of. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're trying to kill yourself over the nigga, like
right. That already got hella kids, huh?
Yeah. God rest her soul. I love my mama, but you know what I'm saying? You gotta call a spade a spade name, you know? So I mean, but even with my mom kicking me out at 14, that's traumatic.
Yes, it is.
Know, and I have an issue even still of not being wanted. You know what I'm saying?
The abandonment, the rejection piece.
Yes. And really feeling alone. And now it's like everybody dead. So it's like, who called
me? Baby girl.
You know what I'm saying? Who's really?
Oh, baby girl. You're going to make me cry, girl. Don't do me like that.
No, but if you're asking me the question, the answer is this is the reality. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't even really, honestly, I didn't fully wake up and start healing until my sister died. So that was 2-3 years, almost 3 years ago now. You know, when June comes up, it will be 3 years of her passing. And you know, I had relapsed again, and I was, you know, and she was killed by a drunk driver. And so, you know,
my sincerest condolences, baby. Oh, Jourdan, I can't hug you. Can't hug you.
I was thinking before I agreed, like before we started, like I might cry in this shit, but it didn't, like when my mom died, I didn't even give myself time to feel that.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't even give myself time to feel when my mom died. Like, I still ain't really took that on because we had been at odds for so long that I was like upset with myself.
Mm-hmm.
That I didn't make peace with her sooner. You know what I'm saying? Like, because if I knew my mom was gonna die, I would have forgiven her earlier. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes, ma'am.
and so it's like, as far as my career goes, a year and a half after being in New York, Puff became my first celebrity client, right? And so I worked with Puff for 2.5 years. At the end of my contract with him is when my grandma died. My grandma is who taught me unconditional love, who took me in when my mom wasn't dealing with me. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, you know, she's the one that taught me how to cook. My mom's mom, right? So
Right.
my grandma really was like my mom. And so when she died, you know, I wasn't like, I don't even really think I gave myself time to grieve her either, you know? So I just kept moving, you know, working. And then I started drinking. And, you know, I think that we normalize alcoholism. And we don't really understand that alcohol has different faces, right? We have this thing about believing that a crackhead looks a certain way, you know, a cokehead looks a certain way, an alcoholic looks as you do a certain thing that makes you, and then, you know, one day you have to wake up and realize that if the bad outweighs the good and you're continuously doing it, like, you don't have any control anymore. Like, it's controlling you. And the bad and the harm is outweighing the good. So even though I was like, I've been successful, I've still had to deal with open wounds that I didn't give myself time and space to heal from, basically. And then also just being in denial about, I'm not no alcoholic. Like, what the fuck?
Right. Right.
Like, well, that doesn't even make no sense. But then I'm like, oh, but you know, when you do drink, it's always too much. You black called losing hours, and I could lose 6 and 12 hours, 6 and 12 in places. I'm fighting people and waking up and not remembering any of it.
Wow.
And so, and it's not that it was happening consistently, as in every other day or something, which is why I was like, I ain't alcoholic. It was like when I went out, but I wouldn't go out but 2-3 times a year. But it's like, you don't go out 2-3 times a year, and 2-3 times it goes bad. That's not a percentage.
Right. Absolutely.
And so, and this is even during my successful time. You know what
Absolutely.
I'm saying?
Right.
And the thing about success is that it's stressful. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't have as me being a chef for all of these people, like, and I work with them all day, every day. So it's not like just seeing them here and there. Like, I'm in Puff's living room in his kitchen for 17 hours a day for 3.5 years.
Absolutely.
You know, and so it's stressful.
Right.
And so, you know, and there's no release because, you know, when you're in these spaces working with these people, all they ask for is trust. And so it's like you're just carrying everything and there's no release. And then the people that you would normally lean on, that you could really trust, are dead.
Right. Absolutely.
Jourdan.
You know, if you're just now tuning in, we're with celebrity chef Jourdan Cha'taun.
That term, I don't like that term. I'm just a chef.
Yes, you are. But I'm going to put the dubs on it today.
Okay.
We have a caller, actually, Sarah, that is waiting on the phone. She must have a question for you.
Okay.
So go ahead and get her on here so she can
Put some tea,
always.
honey in my tea.
Yes. Finish my juice.
You got me crying. You got me crying on here.
Sarah, are you there?
Is your mic muted?
Okay. Maybe Sarah is not there anymore. Sarah, are you on the phone?
What's 5 minutes left mean?
Oh, we're ending the near of the show.
Oh, that's
Okay. Yeah, girl, it goes by fast. Sarah, I'm not hearing you if you are on the line. So I'm going to go ahead and since we are running short on time, I'm going to go ahead and jump into and you know what? We're going to have to do a part 2 of this. When the world opens up, I'm going to come in your kitchen and we're going to cook and talk some more because I know the world wants to hear your inspiration and kind of some of the process of how you learn your skill because you're bad, girl. You just bad. The stuff
my
you
grandma.
Ridiculous.
I
just be drooling.
My grandma in home economics at McClure Middle School. Okay.
All right, McClure. So let's get into the zone, girl. Please let us know about your wellness kits. We need to know the what it is, the how it works for you, how it worked, and then the where to get it.
Well, after my sister died and I went through my relapse, when I got sober again, I realized that I needed to lose weight. I was almost 200 pounds. And so I created a wellness brand, essentially, at JournalCha'taun.com. And I created these wellness kits that include a week's worth of recipes. The first one is Get in the Zone, which is 7 days of more detox recipes. So it's juicing, it's 7 days of juicing recipes, 3 days of pure vegan recipes, and then the 4 days have it has actual seafood and like chicken, I think, in that one. And then the second one is called Zoned Out. And so with the kits, they also include your grocery list, so you don't have to get that. It's all of the recipes, and it's complete meal recipes. So it's not like you got the chicken, but you don't got the green beans and the sweet potato. Like, it's a complete meal. So every meal is complete. So it's all recipes. And then you have a 15-minute workout video that equates a 45-minute workout.
Okay.
And for Getting in the Zone, I did it what you can do at home, because I knew that when I was first losing weight, I want to go to the gym and for people to see me, you know? Right. And so I did that. And then for Zoned Out, I did cardio exercises, because I hate cardio. Like, I hate just running in one place or the bike. Like, I need more movement for my cardio. Zoned Out, the focus in that workout video was the cardio. And then there's a mental health check-in that's on there, and I think I'm going to add some more stuff into that, because what I understood with my weight loss journey was it wasn't even about me working out and me eating healthy. It was about my self-talk. And so I had to work on not talking to myself so bad, not down on myself. And so I had to work on my self-talk, my self-worth, and my self-love. And so I understood that was the missing component. And so that's what my brand is about, is because I'm like, the missing component is our self-love and our self-talk. And there's usually a disconnect with that. And once we address that, once we understand our self-worth and our value, our whole world's open up to us.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, that's what it's about.
That's good stuff. Well, Jourdan, gratitude. I appreciate you taking the time and honoring us with your presence and your space today. Please stay tuned, y'all, because the next broadcast that you will hear is Rainier Avenue Radio News. Until next time, remember to lead with love and give people grace, because you never know who's hurting in your space. Please be kind to yourself, be gracious to yourself and to others. Mwah.
Thank you for having me.
We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to The Sentiment. Please join me next time with the next topic and the next guest that graces us with their presence. In the meantime, be blessed and be gracious and kind to yourself and others. Mwah.
You're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world.